Hello, dear partners and teacher. This is Janice Rondon, and today I would like to share with you some insights about the word candid, a travel to find the best of all the possible words. But firstly, I would like to share with you some information basic of this word masterpiece. The Optimist is best known as Candide, is a French satire written by the distinguished writer and philosopher Voltaire, and it was published in 1759 under the pseudonym of Dr. Rolfe. The plot is basically about a journey and a grueling journey to find the best of all possible worlds. Candide is the main character of the story, and through the story, he had to travel around the world. He went to Lisbon, South America, El Dorado in Brazil, London, and Venice, and finishing his travel in Constantinople, where he has get a more mature uh, way to see the life, and it's a great story that could teach us even in nowadays some things about life and fate. The transcendence of the story is basically in 5 points that I have made. The first is that it has remained for more than 250 years, and it still is considered a masterpiece of philosophy and literature. Second is a unique and comprehensive story that brings together tragedy, comedy, and philosophy. Thirdly, it's a deliberated refutation to the notion of optimism, a belief in the power of question everything. This is perhaps the most important aspect of this story. Because of this, it was forbidden by the Church, Catholic Church, at that time. So that's the reason that Voltaire had to use a pseudonym when the first time it was published. And finally, it is considered as one of the major proponents of human rights, since in that story, human rights wasn't totally accepted, or it was absent. And this is the first story that makes sense of what are human rights, and it make conscious about that we need to respect each other's. Secondly, I would like to compare the story with another masterpiece from Greek, which is called the Odyssey. Like in the Odyssey, the story is about a journey that both main characters had to travel around the world against their volunteer. It's just that destiny seems to take them to different places, and it leads them to live very strange experiences, some of them horrible and tragic adventures, but at the end they can get home, which is their goal. They want to go back home, but at the end they realize that everything is not going to be the same again. Another important relationship they had is that as Candide and Odyssey, they are moved are across a great impulse or a great strength of love. For Candide, the girl of their dreams was called Cunningham, and for Odyssey, it was Penelope. And uh, through the trouble they had, they always are thinking about their love, and that is the part where they find the strength to fight, and to go over all of those tragedies that happens in their travel. The other connection we have is with our real world. Like in Candid Story, we could see that in our real world we still have a lot of tragic experiences, and I think that's the most important part of this story because it connects with our world right now, and I think this story is possible in any kind of time, because because disease, because horrible situations and heartbreaks and famine and death are some topics that we always had to face with it. all of the people, even if we are rich, if we are poor, even if we are religious or not. This is not about it. I think it's part of our lives as humans to face with all of these situations, and this is the most important and prominent connection that I can find with the story of Candide. Finally, I would like to share with you the message that I think this great masterpiece gives to the world of us, and is a great message that it has a strong power for us today to still be working and be facing our lives with passion, with, without losing our hopes. The message is that we must cultivate our own garden. At the end of the story, Candide said this really transcendental phrase, and I think it means that we all need to keep continue living and fighting for our lives with passion, even though it is not a perfect life. And I think that there is no perfect life, but this is a story about finding a way of living in a world of chaos, and how to go through it, and how to overwhelm these parts. So to cultivate our own garden and help others to cultivate their own. And finally, I think all this resumes in a great phrase that I think is significance of the phrase that we need to cultivate our garden, and it is that we need to think globally and act locally. Cultivating our garden is to start making little details, little things to make this world better. And if we all do this, is surely the world will could be a better place to live. Thank you, and I hope you like it. Thanks.